What's up, you guys? Welcome back, and today we're here to talk about the little inexpensive airbrush that I've been showing you guys and you've been seeing on my IG a little bit. And yeah, I promised to do a review on this, and I just wanted to take the time with it to give it the adequate review so that I can bring you guys the best information and not encourage you guys to go out and buy trash. This can be purchased on eBay for less than $50. Actually, in my case, it was around $35. I don't know what you'll get it for, but they seem to be quite available. And pretty soon, I'm sure you're going to see people branding them and selling them as if they invented it. But neither here nor there. Let's just talk about how good really is it, and how does it stack up against, say, the Tomb 45 Get Beamed airbrush. I'm going to start right here with just some simple stuff. Let's go over the pros. Okay, so the first one in my list of pros is the fact that it stands so nice on a it stands so nice on a station. You can move this thing around. It's very difficult to knock it over, and you know, that was sort of a pet peeve for me with the Tomb 45 one, because it was so top heavy. It was really easy to knock it over, and I found myself knocking it over, and sometimes it would like fall to the floor or nearly fall to the floor, and I just didn't want to break it because I paid like $200 for that. And yeah, so the fact that this one is sturdy makes me all the happier. Now this one runs at like 25 psi. It sprays a really good mist. I've never had any issues with clogging or anything like that. But of course, if your airbrush is clogging, there's a pretty good chance that you might need to look at how you're mixing it. And if you're not mixing it properly, that could actually be the real reason why it's clogging. I find that if you're gonna mix it, I'll show you how I mix it real quick. But if you're gonna mix it, just try to keep it as thin as you can while you're still getting the color that you want, because you don't want to make it too thick, because once it gets thick, it can't go through the gun good, and no gun is any exception, especially not a gun that only runs at 25 psi. If you are using a floor compressor that can run at 35 psi or higher, then obviously the potential for it getting clogged is lower. But in the case of the cordless here, what we basically have is two cameras dying on me, so we're down to one for the rest of this video. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay, so the battery life is fantastic. It's lasted me a long time, over a week in the shop without it actually dying, and that has been fantastic. It's really nice to know that I have enough time with this thing to go forward. But battery life was not an issue on the previous ones, so you know, it's good. There's a lot of room here to fit a battery, so I'm happy with that part of it. Ergonomically, it's fantastic. It feels comfortable. This position feels good. I don't find myself struggling at all, and I actually like the size of it because the battery is still so good. It's so powerful, and it fits in a very small space also. So that part of it I really like, and it is more than sufficient for the application of barbering. This was actually like a cake decorating spray gun, I think, at one time. I think that's what it was originally made for. However, it works quite well for barbering, and I really can't say anything negative about it. I've had a good experience with it the whole time, and I haven't struggled with it at all. Now let's get into the cons, because there are a couple cons. There's not many, but if you look right here, we have the area where you plug in the charger, and we also have the area where you turn it on. Okay, when you turn this particular air gun on, I don't know if it's just mine or the others, but when I turn it on, air is spraying out right now. Okay, however, it's not spraying any of the color out, so I think that's just how this is, because as soon as I push it back and pull it, okay, now it sprays color, but in between then it doesn't spray color. So that threw me off a little bit. I thought for a second I had a leak on the gun. It could be just my gun. They might not all be like this, and if you find something different, you have one of these and yours doesn't spray air, leave it in the comments. I'd really like to hear your opinion on it. Now, the other con about it is the fact that this open little hole, which is quite large and is not plugged, I'm concerned that water could get in here. If your hands are wet, you got product on there, you could get it in there, and you could wind up damaging this and possibly cause it to not work. Now, so far that hasn't been an issue, but I can see that as being a potential issue. Now, the next con on it is the fact that this compressor has a male thread on it. And the male thread is nice, it's fine, it works okay with this gun. However, all my guns have the male thread on the handle, on the gun. Now, if you don't have the male thread on the gun, obviously I'm not going to be able to use my other guns with this particular air compressor. However, that really kind of sucked. I mean, maybe you can get an adapter or something like that, and maybe I could use one of my other air guns. But at first I thought that's a no-go. That's going to be a deal breaker because I wanted to use my other handle. But then I realized that this one performs the job just fine. And so far that really hasn't been a problem for me. But yeah, that definitely goes down in the con section. You know, this also this cap, as far as cons go, this cap can be like really hard to get off. There's like nothing to hold on to when I'm pulling on it. If my hands are wet or anything like that, I can't get my finger under the lip. You know, it's like lifting and twisting. So yeah, that's the only annoying thing. The fact that this is a little bit small doesn't really bother me too much because I don't want to put too much color in here, and I always clean it out after every application. So that particular thing has not been a problem. But I just dropped the cap and it ran away from me. This has been a problem. I swear, every time you lose the cap, it like rolls into the most unlikely of spots and causes you to have to search for it and sift through hair on the ground and every other thing. So what I think that I'm going to do is at home, I think I'm going to glue myself a little something to kind of lift this up a little bit easier, and that'd be a pretty easy little thing to do. So that's really all I got for cons. And in conclusion, I would just say that, you know, this is a very good air gun. This is a very good little cordless air gun for the price. I mean, you really can't beat it, and you really couldn't expect much more quality, and you really couldn't expect more functionality out of this price point. And I think this is about as good as I really need it to be. In fact, I haven't even touched my corded compressor in 3 weeks, which is really odd because a lot of times when I'm testing different stuff, I keep that plugged in just in case because I don't trust this kind of stuff sometimes. I've had some embarrassing moments with my other Get Beamed, and I was like all ready to take care of somebody, and it wasn't working, and I had to go through a big fight, and I didn't have that other compressor even with me because I was trusting that thing. So yeah, to avoid any of that kind of stuff, I always kept that thing near me, but now I feel the confidence to just pretty much let that go and just rock on forward with this. If any of you guys have this one out there, I would love to hear what your opinions are on it. Please leave it in the comments. Let's share information on it. If anybody else has anything else, a tip or a trick or something that I'm not mentioning, I would like to hear it. Now, for those of you guys who just wanted to know about the airbrush, that's fine. And, you know, my opinion on it, that's great. This video is essentially over for you. But for any of you guys who don't know how to mix it or might want to know how to mix it, I'm going to play one more clip for you. You guys can check that out. Okay, so real quick, what I like to do when I mix it, what I like to do is just get a bottle, any bottle. We're going to open this up. Okay, what I'm going to tell you guys to do is get some alcohol. That's what I mix it with. I have 91% alcohol here because that's all I could find, and it works just fine. However, I would tell you to try to go for like 50 if they have it, or something lower, because I feel like it stops the color from getting discolored sooner. Pour a little bit in there, and you know, it's nice to have a cap because this stuff won't last long, but it will last a couple days, and it will stay the same color. But as long as you keep a cap on it, if you leave the cap off, it's just going to turn some other weird color, and you're not going to be able to use it on somebody's face or whatever. So this is nutmeg. It's not many customers who can even pull this color off, but I'll just put a couple drops in there. And the idea here is you definitely want to make sure that you put a little bit less than you think, because the last thing you want is to clump up your gun. All right, I got it nice and shook up. There's no clumps in it. It's good. And I'm going to pour it in the gun. I want to put a little bit. I'll go ahead and spray it. There's alcohol in it right now, and all of a sudden now it's spraying out that color. Let me see if I can find one that's a little cleaner for you. All right, so here's a better example. So remember, I used the nutmeg. It's spraying a nice mist. All right, and that's all there is to it. As soon as I'm done, which I am done, and I'm not going to use this color, I'm going to pour it back in this bottle. Okay? Now that I'm done, I want to make sure that I clean this gun out. No air gun will run well if you don't do this. You need to just clean this when you're done. So I just put alcohol only in it, and I'm just going to spray it until I spray and I don't see that color no more. So I spray it, and it's just coming out smooth. I'm still seeing some color. Okay, and that's about it. This thing is clean, It's ready to go. And tomorrow morning when I come in here and I need it, it'll be ready for me. And that's the whole idea behind making sure that you take care of your stuff so you don't have to suffer those embarrassing moments in front of your clients when your equipment is not working right. And yeah, so that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope it helped. Let me know what you guys think about the airbrush in the comments. So are you going to get one or are you going to pass on this? And I'll see you guys in my next video. I'm out of here.